Guys, real quick, listen up. Join us Sunday, December 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our second annual AITD Christmas Spectacular.
We will be live on YouTube and Facebook. Don't miss it, as we will have past guests from 2021.
That's right, buddy. So guys, grab your eggnog, food, and hell, even a blanket, and cuddle up with the crew for this special 3-hour live. Hope to see you guys then.
I'm good. I'm ready.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of All in the Delivery. This is the Christmas installment, episode 1. All for the month of December here. We got the Christmas installment happening. Christmas episodes, guys. Happy December. Peak season's just starting for everybody. Let me start it off with introducing my co-host down in West by God, Virginia.
Fuck.
Luke. How's it going, buddy?
I'm sure that sound bites what everybody's feeling at this point in time. First week, yeah, it's probably fucking stinging for everybody. So Godspeed to all of you and hope it goes smooth. I had to say futuristic shit, so it made me laugh thinking he said the first week of December. So yeah, I was sorry, I didn't mean to spoil that, but I think people know from last year, I'm assuming. People know. Yeah.
And guys, we got a very special guest joining us today, whenever you're listening. It's tonight right now. But anyways, our guest is actually from the same center as me here in Kingston. He is happily married with 2 kids. He is my neighboring route just north of me where I am, and he loves Jeeps. He's an awesome guy to be around. So, guys, please give it up for our guest, John Waddell. John, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How's everybody doing?
Good. I was thinking about introducing you as Waddle, since everybody fucks you up there, but you know.
I went through that all through school. So
I was going to say, how long have you heard about that?
Since I started school.
I fucked it up the first time too. Dave can attest to that. When I was like, what? It was like John Waddell, and he fucking started laughing. So yeah, I was like, oh. Well,
and then I got 2 kids, and they had to go through it all too. So
yeah.
I guess that's really good. My last name is easy, so I can say that. I can't say I got that problem because mine's pretty basic. It's basic and average name, but
Painter.
Yeah. And I can't paint to save my fucking ass, but
but it sounds the way it looks.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's simple. And my name is just Luke. It's not Lucas or anything else to it. So it's
same thing.
Yeah.
John, not Jonathan.
Not Johnny.
No, I go by that sometimes.
And everybody, I'm sure everybody assumes too that your name is Jonathan, because I got that growing up my whole life, that everybody called me Lucas, and I was like, fuck. Let me ask you something. Can you hear my dogs right now barking? No. Okay, good. Yeah. They're up there, they're running rough shot.
That's the greatest thing about that new microphone, brother.
Is it fucking really? Oh, that's awesome. Because, man, they are being loud as son of a bitch.
It picks up what's right in front of it. It doesn't pick up anything around it.
It's a fucking Shih Tzu and a Shorkie just fucking up there battling it out. But if you can't hear it, then this fucking microphone is something. It's fucking magic.
You can't hear it, then it's not happening.
Yeah, right.
All good. So real quick, just want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers before we get started. Thank you guys for the continued support. Obviously, all that good stuff. And Luke and I can't thank you guys enough for it. So thank you so much for the support. Absolutely. Also, guys, don't forget, just got to air out the laundry here. The website and the merch and all that good stuff. Go to deliveringgreatness.com and go and check out the site. Also, all those links will be in the description of this episode. So, boom. And the Pod Patch Street team also continuing it with it here. The Pod Patch Street team, thank you guys for posting those all around your building, your hubs, handing them out to other drivers from different companies, trying to get them to listen on here. And, thank you guys.
Fucking love
now
the fun notices.
The what?
The fun. I don't know because they're not really. I guess I can say info notices. Correct. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's got information on it.
I mean, I've wiped my ass with them when I've shit outside before. So, I mean, that's what I think about them sometimes. And I can tell you, it didn't work out too well.
Oh, my God. You get any paper cuts, Brad?
No, but if Ernie's shaking his head right now, Ernie's thinking, dude, this was before we started talking. Because literally, I made it, not the guy, I've probably told this fucking so many times. John, it was always the fucking unicorn thing. You heard about Ernie Martinez, never pissed
I've never pissed in a bottle myself either.
Good for fucking you. Have you
I've stood chest high at shrubs saying hi to customers pissing out the door, but I've never pissed in a bottle.
Have you ever have you had to ever shit on the job? If you don't mind me asking.
Usually Mondays.
So Mondays? That's at More Area Monday, man. So you're in unfamiliar territory.
Well, I live on my route. So they get me so far from my house. And
oh my God.
Never pissed in a bottle, but I have shit in a box. We pick them up too.
See, I've never shit in a box. I've never shit inside of a truck. I've always been too.
You've always gotten caught outside.
No, I shit in the collar guard box. In the next day air.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, shit.
You swap it out with your shit.
This
customer's
really
like, no.
Dude, I'll say because we are recording this on a Friday, the fucking shittiest thing about those poop boxes is when they're a pickup, they're Saturday air every fucking Friday. So you got to have them in.
I feel so bad for that guy that delivers to that lab.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think we talked about
that
this.
is his first stop. Rear door center. He's got to back onto a dock.
Fuck rear door center. That's probably a whole trailer, right? That's got to be a whole trailer. Like how many we get just in our building? Imagine across the country. That's got to be a fucking trailer's worth.
You couldn't put a rear door center because when something would fall on it.
It's got to be blocked and braced. Treat it as a hazmat. I love when the customer hands you it and like you don't know what it is. They're like, "Oh yeah, I got something," and they hand it to you, and they're like, "Oh man."
Yeah, man.
And then you make a joke. It's still warm.
Why is it warm? Makes you want to go. Oh, like fresh baked cookies.
Were you baking the day?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The shit will literally deliver. The shit will literally deliver.
Yeah.
And then go pick it up.
Yeah. And it's Saturday fucking air every time.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
You just hope it's close to the center.
Fuck.
That poor bastard in the middle of the summer. Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think of. I've never seen one. I've never seen one destroyed ever. I've never seen one destroyed.
No, because everybody holds it like this. They're walking around like this. Pick it up with a DR bag,
Oh yeah. God.
There is actually one recently, like last week. I picked it up with a DR. They put the box in a bag, and it must have been like an old bag. It was grimy, and it was just knowing what was inside, and then touching the bag that was grimy and just disgusting. I was just like, ugh. Like it just, who knows if the bag was from that? Like, you know what I mean? Ugh. God, gross.
If you want to laugh, you really should go on their website and watch the video because it is pretty hysterical.
Oh, I know.
Do they have a how-to video?
There's a whole instructional video. Yeah.
Oh, damn. I've never seen that.
I thought you were talking about the commercial where it shows the brown truck actually picking it up.
No. Go on. And like check it out and figure out how they
How you're supposed to shit in a box?
Yeah, the step-by-step goes along with it.
I don't think I would be able to do it too well. Just
Dude,
saying.
my kid thinks it's hysterical. He thought it was like the funniest thing on YouTube when he saw it. He's like, really? That's really what it is? Yeah, man. We pick them up all day.
God, I know. The expensive old people. Sorry,
not even
sorry
old
to the
people though. Like I've delivered those like maybe 40-year-olds.
No, I've always
Just
everyone
people
I've
get
ever
tested
seen.
for
They tell you
colon
40 and over.
Yeah.
Damn, I need to fucking. I guess
You can't stop it, Luke. It's on its way.
I know. Well, this episode, Christmas special one. I'm 37 years old, so I'm getting up. I'm creeping up there.
Yeah.
I'm past the mid. I'm good. I feel like once I hit 30, I wouldn't give a fuck. I feel like I would care more about.
Mine was 40.
Maybe 50. I think I'll care more about 50 than 40. I feel like I'll treat 40 the same way as 30. Obviously I'm way more fucking sore at 37 than I was at 30. I played the fucking football game.
Chiropractor.
Oh, dude, I know, but I just don't do it. I end up getting sidetracked and procrastinating.
I can't even tell you how good I felt after going there.
Bro, inversion table.
Dude, listen, I went to the chiropractor.
Every day.
You know how I was telling you about my back, right? And like after I was closing the pool, my back was hurting. Like, dude, when I got home Monday night, it was the worst back pain I've ever had. Worst back pain. And so I went to the chiropractor early morning on Wednesday, like 8:15 appointment, early morning. He's like, and I'm laying face down on like the table and shit, and he's having a look at my back. Like as soon as I went down, like he could see it through my shirt. He was like, dude, I see your ribs like popping out through like your shirt. I had 3 ribs that were out of place in the back. My muscle pulled the ribs out of place and completely like kind of rotated my spine.
They kind of do where they fold over each other, the ribs.
Yeah, and it literally like rotated my spine. So he was like saying my like spine and shit was like compressing. And when your body does that, it prevents there being like a herniated disc. So like he literally had to fucking put that back into place. And like, it's like he was like working certain areas and shit on my back. And then he was like, all right, fold it like this, put your arms like this, put your legs like that. And he's like, got me in this position. And he's like, inhale.
About
exhale,
to rearrange your guts.
And like, and he just cracked, dude. And he's like,
I'm about to crack your back, buddy.
No, he was like, I think we got all 3 of them in one shot, like that.
Jesus.
And like, and he's like, check. He's like, yeah, we did. I was like, oh my, dude, immediate relief, incredible, fucking incredible, bro. It's only a $10 copay with our insurance. It's great. I
got a table. I come back and hang every night. I'm sore. Just hang upside down.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
straightens everything out.
Oh man. Anyways. So John, you are here joining us. So let's hear a little bit about you and get to know you now. So how did you get started with the company?
So I was working for a motorcycle dealership. I worked on and off for a couple of auto parts stores and stuff. And I got married back in like 2001. We started talking about having kids and insurance and stuff. I needed something that had better benefits. So I started working for, I started loading trucks. I did that for about 10 or 11 months. And my belt supervisor actually quit. And I should have saw that as a sign. But no, I applied for his job. So I became a belt supervisor and got stuck in this management loop of part-time supervisor. And I was there for 6.5, almost 7.5 years. 6.5 as a supervisor and almost a year as a loader. But I was the new hire trainer. Every new person that came through, I was on the safety committee. I was on the hazmat responder. And it was a different time back then. I lucked out and I didn't have to do the alpha charts. I came in right as PAS that hit our building. And it was a different time, and that was 2013, I think, or no, it was before that. I came back in 13, but it was like 2005 when I hit there. And as a part-time supervisor, of course, you're trying to work your way up through the company. And I attended a little bit of college after high school, but I didn't finish it. And that was kind of like what was holding me back was, oh, you don't have a degree. Okay, well, I don't have a degree. I can do every job in the building. So I made sure that I learned everybody's job. And
are you telling me that we need a degree? They need a degree?
Oh yeah. They don't care what it's in. You could be, floor resurfacer.
Yeah, dude. That's why, dude, listen, they
you got a degree. They don't care.
They've hammered me hard in the past about that. They don't anymore because they're like, that dude's just fucking, we couldn't. I'm too much of a fucking, I'm not officially a libertarian at this point, but I'm kind of in that mindset where I'm like, fuck everybody. So I'm like, they knew I probably wouldn't do well in that. But for a while, because I got a criminal justice degree. That was pushed on me for a while.
So see, that's what's crazy though, is because my dad didn't go to college, but he said he got offered so many times to like go to.
Well, it was at the same.
Yeah, that was a different time then too. And Vic seems like a sharp dude. I mean, having him, he had the best, one of the most memorable one-liners probably this podcast will ever have, and it was one that I did not fucking see coming because I didn't, when I heard about him, all I told Dave, not to get too fucking sidetracked, but I was like, I won't go too crazy into stories with your dad on here, I won't get too much into the fuckery, quote unquote. And then old Vic pulled out the center manager wife's one-liner. God, man. And I mean, you want to talk about that? Talk about a sign. But yeah, that would have been. Yeah, were you born when that was, or was that before you were born when he got offered it? Okay, so 80s though, still
probably 90s.
Okay, well that's
maybe even early 2000s.
No shit, for
possibly.
Real?
Yeah,
yeah. I feel like at that point, totally. Well, I don't know. It could be
because he retired 2016, so 30 years, 1986. Yeah, so probably 90s, early 2000s. But yeah. Anyways,
so I ended up going. I went to the panel. I interviewed for it and everything, and I just, at that point I already had 2 kids, and it was like, I got to make money. I'm not going to go to college. I got to support my family. So I stayed in that job. I was doing a lot of odd jobs. I lucked out. My family owns a landscape company. My dad was still alive at that point. I did a lot of hardscapes and stuff with him. I started a lawn service myself. I kind of did odd jobs to fill in the blanks here and there. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I had an incident with a person who was a union employee that he knows who he is. He kind of flipped the script on me one day, and push came to shove, and he shoved, and they should have fired us both, and I got sat down and he went on vacation. So I was already given another opportunity to work at another place. More money, more time, regular schedule. So in November of, must have been 11, I put my notice in at Thanksgiving and ended up staying right through to July. I trained 2 or 3 replacements for myself, and nobody stayed. So I stayed in through right up until like the middle of July. And it was kind of like the perfect storm. I had this other job that had profit sharing. I got paid every week. I was getting paid every 2 weeks. So it was like I got 5 paycheck. That July was like 5 Fridays. So I got, I got to the point, it was like, I looked at my wife and said, I can't do this anymore. I was going to work at 2:00 in the morning, working until 7:00, and then working the other job from 8 to 5. And that's kind of where the hammock came from. I went and bought a hammock on Wednesday at lunchtime. I'd climb in the hammock and sleep for an hour,
Right.
But
dude, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it. I shout out to Brown Man and Brown, Albert, because he was a preload supervisor too, dude. That'd be a tough fucking job to do, man, because like you said, 2 a.m. and it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know how it is where I feel like the preload is the preload, but it's still, that would be, you got people that's pissed off at you, like you said, that would be union. Then you got your supervisors that are pissed off at you. I feel like that job just would fucking, man.
Oh, it was tough because, you're starting at, if preload started at 2:45, I'd be in the building at 2:15, set all this stuff up. And then you're working until, let's just face it, they're paying you for 5.5 hours and you're working until the drivers leave. So you work till, that was back in the day when it was 8:15 and 8:30, they were leaving the building. And
that sounds nice.
I wish. So it was, I would leave at 8:30, 9:00, and the supervisor that I had at the time, he's no longer with the company, but all day it was, hey, so-and-so on, I'd get these texts that so-and-so on your belt had 2 misloads today. And, and it's like, dude, I'll deal with it when I come in the morning, like I'm not even working right now and you're ruining my day,
Right.
So, and it was tough because, I'm working both jobs. You're going in at 2:00 in the morning. You try to go to dinner with your family on a Friday night, and you're sitting at the dinner table, like falling asleep at 9:30 at night,
Right.
So I did that for, like I said, 7.5 years. I left. I went to go work for a small solar company. I worked for that guy for like a year and a half, and then the company got bought. Kind of found myself kind of spinning my wheels. In the meantime, I was working for that company. My dad had passed away, and my father and my grandfather on my mom's side both retired from the railroad. So I went to go work for CSX. I'm like, all right, well, it's a good retirement. My dad was there. Let me go see what this is about. So I went and I did that.
Your dad retired from there?
My father retired from there. Yeah, he did.
No shit.
My dad retired at 57 with 36 years of service or something with the railroad.
Damn.
So here's the kicker. My dad retired at 57. Well, stopped going to work at 57. Said, well, you can pay me when I turn 60 and live to be 61. So kind of, you work your whole life to die in a year. It sucks.
Right.
So, I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to get further than that. But so I went and I worked with a bunch of guys that it was cool because they kind of knew my dad. My dad was a dispatcher. So it's kind of like the equivalent of like air traffic control, but in a train.
That's
so
cool.
I worked with a bunch of guys. I became a conductor. The money was pretty good, but I signed up for this thing. You go away to school. I went to Atlanta for 6 weeks to do my training. And you come back and you do 18 weeks on the job training. I got about 15 weeks into it. And the guy that was the trainer knew my dad and said, listen, I got bad news. When you guys graduate and qualify, they're probably going to lay you off. So I'm like, what do you mean? He's like,
yeah,
they're probably going to lay you off. They're like over hiring right now. So I kept working and trying to figure out what was going to happen. When I got laid off originally, I actually went back to the company and I said, hey, what's the chance of me coming back? But because I'd been gone for 6 months, the only way they'd bring me back is if I started back at 0. And it's like, you're going to pay me 0 seniority, 0 vacation, in management, but I've already got it all up here already, so like you're getting one hell of a deal paying me that.
Right. Yeah, dude.
I talked over my wife and I was like, I can't do that to myself. I feel like I'm giving too much away. So that was kind of why I went the railroad route. I I'm running back and forth to Buffalo, and it's like that job has no schedule. It's a 2-hour phone call, and I got to be an hour and 10 minutes from my house in 2 hours. So I did that through the training. I found out 15 weeks in that they're probably going to lay me off. Like a week and a half later, I'm laying in a hotel in Syracuse and my phone rings, and it's my old center manager from the company and says to me, listen, we just had an incident here in the building. We have an opening that we can hire a driver off the street, and your name came up. No shit. Okay. So what are you telling me? He's like, I can hire you, no covering vacations, no cover driver, just come in, you're full-time right off the rip. So I know unions work a little bit different. Ours was like a 6 to 2 or 6 to 2 to 1 ratio, where like you got to promote 6 people up to bring somebody off the street, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of fell into this slot, and I said, listen, I gotta let the other job lay me off first. Kind of so I can kind of keep 2 irons in the fire. I still got to come in and qualify. So I did that. And I said to him, I said, I'll be great as long as you don't put me like in Walk Hill where I know nothing. And sure enough, that was the training route, was Walk Hill. So I had no point of reference or nothing. So I got laid off from the other job. I called him on like a Wednesday. I said, look, I got my license on a Tuesday. They laid me off on Wednesday. I called him on Thursday, and he says, you're going to school Tuesday. So they send me to school, and I get to school, and they have no idea that I'm coming. No hotel, no nothing. So
oh shit.
They're like, you can't stay. We got to send you back. So I went down. I did like the first day on a Tuesday, and it's a 6-day school. So I go down on a Tuesday, and then I drive back home. So the first day of school the next week is Wednesday. I've already done day 1. So they send me down Thursday. So it's Thursday, Friday, come back home, and then go back down and do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday again. But they never told the guy at the driving school that I was an insider or a manager. Never said anything to him. So I go down there to learn, 5 keys to lifting and lowering, and all that stuff. I've been training that for the last 6 years.
Right.
So here I am in a classroom full of brand new people.
You're like, I'm gonna fucking nail this.
Because it's in October. I go down there, and these guys are like, I'm not gonna fail. I'm gonna fail out of this class. I can't figure this out. And I'm like, dude, I'm staying at a hotel over here. I'll teach you how I taught it.
Yeah.
To try to help you out. I didn't know any of the driver stuff, but that was all I was there to learn. I already knew everything else,
Right.
But
you already knew half of it.
I came back. I started. It was like the very beginning of November, and I ended up on that route, and I did that right through Christmas. I qualified, and I made seniority on December 20th. So when you get your extra week's vacation, I got 11 days to use it, and you can't use it. So.
God, what a motherfucker that is.
It sucks. And every time you get that extra week, I gotta fight to get that check. Every single time.
God damn.
Oh yeah, dude. They're just waiting. They were like, one year he's gonna fucking forget.
So what year? So what year was it when you came back driving?
I came back.
What year was the holiday season?
I want to say it was Christmas of 13 that I came back.
No shit.
Yeah. So it was Christmas of 13. There was a big shift in drivers because they did bids in February. There was a kind of a big jumble up, and I ended up on a different route. But like I said, my family did landscaping and stuff, and I ended up on a route in a town that I did a ton of landscaping in. So it was, once you get a couple of references, it's like, my dad would tell you, you come up the road, you'll see my Jeep on the side of the road. I didn't know what the address was, but I can tell you that's 350 Peak Road now, So once you had a couple of references, like, I did a driveway there, I did a garden there, I fixed the pool there. I qualified on that, that route in no time at all, too, So it's just the biggest thing that I can tell any new driver is if you're out there and you're trying to qualify on something, and there's qualifying you Monday through Friday, you're probably not going to start on Monday. Suffer for the first 4 days, and then go take a ride. Yeah. Go down there on a Saturday, go buy a map, have somebody else drive, see intersections. What's the first house on the right? What's the first house on the left? And just
that's exactly what I did too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly what I did too. When I knew I was going to be qualifying down in Wallkill too. Like me and my dad went down there, and like what they tell us at school. Well, what the guy told me at school, I don't know if they still tell, but is ask your supervisor for a manifest of the route that you're going to be training on, so that then you see, the streets, you see the house numbers, and then you go learn what side the evens are on this side, odds are on that side. You learn.
So what I did is I printed the
breaks, all that stuff.
I printed it out for a week. So you see I went through with a highlighter, and it's like, okay, 254 Main Street gets something 3 days a week. That's one you want to learn.
Right.
Right. But salute, guys. I need another one here.
True.
Salute.
But it's you start learning, it only needs a couple of references, and it really helps out.
Yeah. 100%. So, and your seniority restarted?
No, I started at 0.
In 2013.
In 2013.
You technically have only been driving for 7 years?
Yeah.
8 years?
Yeah. But my time, sound like I went to jail, but my time served before counts towards retirement. Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we all did.
Felt like that.
Yeah, we all did.
So it's it counts towards retirement. That'll count towards my 30, but I won't. Chances are I won't go with a.
So how long? So how much time was added from there? From when you were
my whole time?
Was that
7 and a half from before?
7.5 years.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's awesome.
It's funny because I did the Wallkill route in 2014 for peak season, so I did the next season after you. That sounds
and then
weird.
I think the following year, then you covered the split part of the route that I'm on now.
Oh yeah,
that was the Here Comes video was all my route.
Oh, dude, was it really?
This looks familiar.
Yeah. Holy shit!
I didn't catch it when I watched it the first couple times, and then it was like Christmas time, and I was showing my family like, "Oh, this is the guy on my route." And I put it on the TV, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Nature's Drive." So to put it together, I'm like, "Oh no shit, it was all shot here."
Awesome.
There he is in the Tilson Estates.
Yeah. Tilson Estates and the rest of Springtown there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that outside hire worked for you though, dude, because that fucking
I'll be honest with you. There was guys that were pissed when I came back because they're like, "Wow, what the fuck? Waddell walks right back in here into a full-time slot." And I said to him, I was like, "If you don't think I paid my dues already,
dude, you paid your fucking dues." Listen, I preloaded for 5.5 years. I wasn't a preload supervisor. You did it longer than I preloaded. You paid your fucking dues, dude.
Yeah.
That's a tough job. It's a tough fucking job. I barely made it through as a fucking preloader. My first 2 years as a preloader, I don't know how many of these of you listen to, man, because I know I've said it a few times. But dude, I barely made it through. Year one was
barely made it to work in one piece.
Well, here's the thing.
Year one preload.
As long as you showed up, I probably would have kept you. You probably would have been unloading trucks.
That's basically what I did. And I mean, I literally would go, dude. Just quick side story because I still have the shirt. It's a fucking Big Lebowski shirt. It's a Walter Sobchak. I was up in Morgantown for Cinco de Mayo, and for some reason, I had a Big Lebowski shirt on. That
happens to be my son's birthday, Cinco de Mayo.
No shit. Nice.
Yeah, and a little Corona for him.
So this would have probably this was year one probably, and I had that shirt, and I stayed up in Morgantown. So this was like 2007. I drove from Morgantown back to work. I made it there, but I had that shirt on. I was unloading trucks and fucking paint spilled out of something, green paint, and it got all over that shirt. And I was fucking pissed because I luckily Luckily, I had a fucking pair of shoes in my car because I was in flip flops and cargos. I had the cargos in the fucking. I had everything. I had to put the shoes on, dude. I was devastated. I can remember that like it was fucking yesterday. That was my one of my favorite shirts. Went out in it, partied in it, showed up in it.
As a supervisor, I had a guy show up to work the sort aisle, and he shows up, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, that guy is not in good shape. So I went up and I said to him, I said, are you okay to work today? He's like, yeah. This guy was so scared of getting a DWI that he rode a bike to work.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Dude.
Showed up.
Good for him.
There's still definitely a couple of those. Strangling around.
Yeah.
Dude, we it was so funny at this point in preload. Like I think I said that one of the reasons I got by is because our preload, just everybody did it. We like to have fun. And God, like it was the just as a driver makes me laugh thinking this now. So think about this. We're all drivers. We've been doing it for a little bit. Like West Virginia would play on a Thursday night. All of us would go up
Nobody
there.
Showing up Friday.
Oh no, we showed up. But it
was together.
Dude,
not in any kind of shape, I'm sure.
Dude, like the whole half of the building where everybody was rumbling. Like it had to be the shittiest fucking day for those drivers on a Friday too. It was a day I guarantee, looking at it now, where I would be like, dude, these motherfuckers just burning their ears. And they knew it was coming though. Yeah, it was.
So we used to have a guy that worked the morning shift, and some of the guys out of our building, Dave, don't know who he is, but you didn't want him loading your truck. Because he had these little things called like the lucky leprechaun. Like if you find your next stop, you're pretty lucky. Or he called them the Easter egg load.
Oh
yeah.
I love the sound of that. That's a good one. That's
the Easter egg load. And then if you had a bulk
does he still work there? Does he still work here?
No, but his daughter does. Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, I have no ideas, and I'll keep it that way. So whoever this is, if you're listening, I don't know. And
JK, that's what his name was. But he was the guy that they'd come up and they'd say, they'd grab some of the unload guys, say, hey, we need you to help close out some trucks. So he had the Easter egg, the lucky leprechaun, and then he had the shovel load. So if you had a bulk stop. And then
shovel load.
And then it wasn't so bad if you had the roll down door, but if you had closing doors, he'd close one, and if it didn't shut, he would tell you. If it doesn't fit, you put a boot on it, and he'd kick the door shut. Yeah, good luck getting that stuff out of there.
My God. Oh my God.
You didn't want him loading your truck, man. Great guy.
Yeah.
Show up every day.
Shitty loader.
You did not want to load your truck. There was actually drivers that would come in and they'd see him standing behind their truck, be like, what the fuck? I don't want this guy. Has anybody been through this truck lately?
Dude, but
that was when supervisors used to go through trucks. They would go through, they would verify stuff, they would check stuff, make sure your 1 and 2000 section was good.
See, when you did that in 2005, go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, I'll say it right now. They don't get held accountable like they did when you used to work as a supervisor.
So I came in when PAS started. You were supposed to move.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
The spot label.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So
you either had to move that label to the outside, or you had to use a crayon and write the number on the side of the box.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd go through it, and
that's what we did too.
Yeah, they wanted you to say something to somebody if they didn't mark it with a crayon. It was a different time. It
was a different time.
And now they're getting guys that they're hiring anybody that'll show up in non-flip flops and will stay for 5 hours.
That's exactly what I saw recently on Instagram.
Did you see the kids in slides coming in for the interview?
No, but there was a post on Instagram that somebody posted it. It was a screenshot of something from the company's website, and it was like, get hired immediately in under 30 minutes with no interview or something.
It's not an oil change. It's a job.
And the guy's caption was like, so you're telling me we could get hired now without any Like it was just like,
is this a part-time supervisor? Preload
No,
soup?
dude, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
You
Under
get
30
hired
minutes,
under
you can get
30
hired
minutes.
and make 35,000 a year or whatever.
yeah, just show up. Just show up. That's
Just
all.
show up. That's all we ask. We are scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel at this company, dude.
Do you have a pulse? Do you breathe at least 8 times a minute?
You can
Come
work.
work for us.
We want you.
Yeah.
Why the fuck? I mean, it's like
Oh
they're
my
sabotaging
God.
themselves. Jesus.
Dude, that's exactly what it is, though.
They were hiring people on the preload, and you couldn't ask them if they had a car. You had to ask them if they had reliable transportation. And the reliable transportation was their mom.
Of course.
Their mom's going to drive them to work at 4 o'clock in the morning every day.
The reliable transportation became unreliable, is what
Yeah,
they were.
yeah.
They were
Mom
just,
needs a nap.
oh shit, yeah, dude. Oh, God, I'm dying.
Crazy.
Oh, I'm dying.
It
Crazy.
is crazy. So one of my questions for you, John, was going to be, why did you start driving? But now you already told us that. Obviously, you got offered it from your CM at that time.
Yeah.
So we can skip that one. Luke, do you have anything else work related for him?
Oh, dude. So I'm trying to think of just any fucking of a preload moment of
Do you have any preload stories?
I'm trying to think, like, okay, so there was one time that like ammonia spilled in the it spilled it was like, I mean, it fucking soaked that fucking trailer, and it was like it was embalming fluid too. It was all kinds of shit, dude. It was bad. No. It was bad. So we had this guy, this center manager. He's retired, long retired. I fucking wish I don't know. I'm kind of glad I didn't have him at the stage I'm in now, because I probably would. I might not have a job because he's. But but this fucking guy, we couldn't breathe, we couldn't breathe. Get in there.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
We get out of the trailer, and the fucking unload supervisor, this fucking center manager, comes back. He's like, "What's the problem?" Got his arms crossed. He was one of them hard asses, He was one of them breeds. It was the old school way, and he was like, I was like, it's we can't go in there. So he makes the fucking he makes the unload soup go in there. He gets in there for about fucking 5 seconds, comes out coughing, just fucking yakking. So this motherfucker rolls up his sleeves and goes in there himself. And he comes out fucking coughing and yakking in that trailer. My question is, would you have let a center manager, if you knew for sure? I'm just saying, it wasn't, we obviously all lived, but we couldn't fucking breathe it for more than a few seconds before you had to get the fuck out of there. Would you have if they told you to do that, would you have done it, or would you have told them to fuck off?
It was in a trailer that they were unloading?
It was a trailer they were unloading, yes.
As a hazmat responder, I'd have them pull it off the door. Pull it off the door, let it air out in the parking lot a little bit.
Well, that's what they ended up doing after.
Well, once again, that makes sense. So let's not do that.
Yeah, right. Dude, it was literally, that was like my second week on the job. That was like literally week 2, and that happened. And I was like thinking, oh man, because I stayed in there a while. Because what happened was, like, so if you were started in 2005, so like, you remember the trailers that you lifted the flaps up?
We were
like
just talking about that today. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I told Dave bottoms about these. Yeah, the drop bottoms, dude. So I feel like, if I can remember right, it wasn't a full trailer anyway. And I was down, like, I just didn't notice it at first, but that shit, like, it was fucking leaking at like a stack And when I put it, it just like basically collapsed on the rollers and kind of went everywhere. And I didn't like it went down below because I had the flaps up. It was all, it was fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
So it, it was done then. And but yeah,
that trailer, Dave, like the rollers were like, I think they were about a foot off the floor, were they not?
Yeah, give or take.
And then it had flaps that came down. So they would load underneath the rollers on the floor, fold the flaps down, and then load on top of it. So you'd unload the truck on the rollers and then flip the flaps up. I'm sure there's plenty of guys that are missing fingers from doing that.
Oh, dude.
They'd go up and they had like a J hook that would hold them. But every time, and like every time you'd unload that truck, they'd pull it off the door and wham, wham, they'd start falling down.
So I know I've told this story before, but we did this as a prank to it. He wasn't the normal unload supervisor, but he was a preload soup, and the other guy was off. And we played a prank on him where I told the guy scanning. I was like, I'm going to fucking slam this flap down, just start going crazy. And I'm just going to lay here. So I fucking slid. He was like, oh, fuck. And then I was laying there and I laid back. I was like face down. So he like came back to check on me. And as soon as I felt him like touch my shoulder, I rolled over and was like, nah, I just started dying. He was fucking mad. He wrote me up for that because he was so pissed off. Oh, dude, he's no longer. He's hadn't been with the company in years. But yeah, that was our little prank. Them flaps, dude, you're right though. Them fucking flaps were.
I think they actually like. I don't think there's any left in the company. I think they took them all out of service.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. They were out. I feel like I quit seeing them when I was still preloading.
Yeah,
I wasn't unloading anymore, but I feel like they were gone. I'm
gonna say they probably been gone since like 8 or 9, 2008, 9, 10 maybe. But yeah, I think it was like asking to get hurt,
Yeah, dude, it was so many things and like fucking and
they were wooden, so some of them were rotted.
Yeah,
like you go to walk across and you feel it moving.
Yeah.
Don't walk on the rollers, Crazy.
Shit. Those fucking trailers. God, I don't miss that shit. That feels like it was yesterday, but it was like 2007. But
yeah, I've gone in a couple of times. They've been short guys on the preload, and they call me in, and you go in there and you go to unload a trailer, and you're like, "Am I really going to do this right now?"
I know, dude. I couldn't even. I'd hate to see how big. I bet I could. I'd be fucking gassed. I'd probably be so ashamed. Because
it's one thing when you're doing it and you're going home at 9 o'clock. It's another thing when you're doing it and then you're going to get on the road at 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah,
and do it for the next 10 hours. That's a little bit different job,
Oh, dude, yeah. And I was like, because I was like 24 when I got out of the unload, so that too.
Just in time.
Yeah, I know. Thank God. Whew. Dude.
So John, let's switch gears here, literally.
Yeah.
And into Jeeps, because I know quite a few of our listeners love their Jeeps.
Yeah.
So you go to the different what are they called?
I
Festivals?
go to a couple different events. It's definitely not a festival. Nobody's wearing a costume or nothing, Dave. There are tents, but the biggest one I go to is down in Wildwood, New Jersey. I've been going to that for quite a few years now.
Okay.
My son and I went the first year. We camped, and I told my wife and my daughter, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Wildwood, New Jersey, but the boardwalk is 500 feet from the water, and they hold this show on the sand. So I can park 2/3 of the way to the ocean. So I took my wife and my daughter the second year, and it was just the two of them. And then we had other families now that have joined us, and it's become quite the party. We're to the point now we're making margaritas on the beach and big tents, and we back everybody all up and, set up camp for the weekend. So that's our
nice.
my favorite getaway of the year. But
that's fucking awesome.
It's fun.
Dude, go ahead, bro.
It's one of those things where like you learn. I do off-road pretty often too. And you kind of learn like what traction is and where to find it and how to keep it. And then you deliver in the snow, and that truck is probably the worst thing to drive in the snow. And you start learning how to, read the crown of the road and try to stay on the crown. There's been plenty of times where I probably shouldn't have made it through that area, but because you learn what it feels like to have traction and then not have traction, right. you learn how to figure it out, but I don't know. It keeps me occupied. It's a clean sport, and you own a Jeep, you'll never have money for anything else.
So I'm curious, tell us about your Jeep. What's the year? What upgrades have you put on it?
So this is my second one in a row. I've pretty much always, since I was probably about 24, I've always driven something that was 4-wheel drive. The one I'm currently driving now is a 2005 Wrangler Unlimited. Some of the Jeep guys will know they only made that one for 3 years. It's a long wheelbase, but it's still a 2-door. Just kind of a mild lift and some meaty tires. And the wife says it can't get any taller because she has a hard enough time getting in it now. And but the kids love it, like that thing I go to down in New Jersey. My daughter was 15, and in New York State, you got to be 16 to get your license. And they have an obstacle course, and I got online for the obstacle course, and my kid was like, "Dad, you should let me drive. You should let me drive." And I was like, I got all the way up to the sign-in sheet, and I'm like, "Listen," I looked right at her. I said, 95% of this is just having the confidence to sign that sheet and drive away. She's like, "What?" And I got out of the truck. It's just like, "What are you doing? You're driving." So, of course, 3 years later, my son's the same age. "You should let me drive." So I let the kids beat the crap out of it on the beach this year. So
That's awesome.
It had fun. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
Can't get in too much trouble out there.
I feel like so lame saying this because I told Dave, I was like, I got a fucking Jeep Renegade. I feel like it's just like the minivan.
Listen, my daughter's friend has one, and she's modified the doors so she can take them off on the front.
No shit.
And I said, "Why don't you take the back ones off?" She goes, "Well, then it gets rid of all the speakers because the speakers are only in the doors."
Oh, fuck. See, I didn't even know
speakers
that.
in the back doors, I can still drive around with tunes.
And there you go.
Well, yeah, I'd have to leave them back ones on then. I mean, that's fucking essential.
Essential pieces of equipment. Yeah, it's something I like doing it. And, there's actually a couple of people from our building that I have been off road with, and it's, I don't know, it's good, clean fun. It's something to do with the kids. That
absolutely. I mean, I've always said, like, I know people have their differences. Some people are like, "Yeah, this is sick." So other people are like, "No, this is not." But the one vehicle that I've said my next vehicle is gonna be the Jeep Gladiator.
Yeah,
I fucking love the pickup with the Jeep Wrangler. Like,
there's one in our building that I'd love to own myself, but
yes, I know.
It would keep me out of the woods for sure. It'd keep me out of the woods.
I mean, like,
truck's too nice to take it off road.
it has everything that like I would want in the Wrangler. How you can take the doors off, you can take the roof off, but then it's also got the bed in the back.
But it can still go to Home Depot.
Exactly. Exactly. So now that I'm like at full top pay now, like sometime next year, I think I'll probably fucking have one in my driveway. If not that, it would be.
There you go. We're predicting that. This was a futuristic episode. See, you're predicting the future.
I know. See this? So if it won't be the Jeep Gladiator, it's gonna be a fucking Vespa.
All right.
Because why not get 85 miles to the gallon when I live 8 minutes away from work?
One of the guys in our building just bought a Honda Ruckus, and he parks it behind the snowplow at the building. So
really?
He runs it
I haven't seen it. No way.
Yeah, Mikey bought one.
No shit.
Bought a Honda Ruckus.
No shit.
I saw him driving to work the other day. It was about 54 degrees. He's all bundled up, fucking buzzing along with his cooler between his knees, running it to work. It's great.
I know that's like what I'm saying. Like, dude, 85 miles a gallon, you can't fucking beat that.
Yeah, dude, yeah. I can't.
It'll eventually pay for itself.
Easy.
Yep.
I can't fucking. I just think Lloyd. I told him Lloyd Christmas.
I got a Lloyd Christmas that lives up the street from me, bro. He rides one of the little doodlebug dirt bikes. and he runs up and down the road, and he's had it for probably about 3 months. And like every 3 or 4 weeks, it gets a little bit louder. It gets a little bit faster. So I'm getting my mail the other day, and he stops by, and I said, "Man, this thing sounds like it's getting loud." He goes, "Well, I bought it. It had a 3 horsepower motor on it. He put a 7 horse, a 9 horse, and now it's got an 11 horsepower motor on it." And he's probably a 220-pound guy. He's got to sit on the gas tank because the thing wheelies going down the road.
Oh my God.
He goes by my house all nice and slow, and then there's no houses that go up the hill, and you hear him kind of burr, burr. He takes off. Great. We call him Lloyd Christmas. My kid's like, "Oh, here comes Lloyd."
Dude, I love it, man. I love that that's still, I'm glad that your kids think of that and think Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I fucking love it.
You got to show them all that old stuff.
You got to.
You got to show them Tommy Boy, and you got to show them Black Sheep, all that stuff. Otherwise they don't get any of our references. It doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
Like,
and
what
dude,
are you talking about,
dude? I had a reference, one that made me feel old as fuck moment once, and it was a movie that was later, not much later, but Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite was like 2004 or 3, somewhere around there.
What year was he born?
I don't. 1977. I think. I don't know. I'm not 100% though, but I had to name it fast. Tell me I'm right, Dave. I might be wrong.
Well, the Napoleon Dynamite movie came out in 2004.
Okay.
And what the hell was the actor's name?
I was like
John Heder.
Yeah.
John Heder. I forget. Was what year did you say?
1977.
He was born October 26, 1977.
Oh man, I had to do it.
Unreal, right?
Dude, amazing. Fucking, there's this song that comes on This Place I'm Delivering, and I was like, it was one of the songs from Napoleon Dynamite. I just couldn't remember. I can't remember what it was called, but I as soon as I heard it, I was like, God, this reminds me of Napoleon Dynamite. And it was called, I guess I could say the business. It was KC Uniforms in Morgantown. And this was, I can't remember when this was. It's been a few years ago now, but she was like, "What's that?" Like, I hadn't heard Napoleon Dynamite. And I was like, it's a movie. You never heard of Napoleon Dynamite? She was like, "No, what?" I was like, well, it probably came out in like 2000. I probably said 4 or 5, somewhere around that.
Yeah.
And she was like, like, she was born.
When did she say she was born?
Like 1999. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, well, never mind.
I get that all the time. Guys will say something about like, "Oh, I was born in this year," and I'm like, dude, I graduated 3 years before that.
See, I'm not taking it. See, it's not. It's just the beginning stages of it. I've said this. 37, dude. 30 is a weird fucking age because I feel like I'm not. Because I don't feel like you're not. I don't consider you're not old either. But you're older than me. But there's people that see you're. But see, if we were with old people,
how
they
old
would
are you,
probably
John?
still
Just
call
say
you a kid. But few would
how
less.
Old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay. And the fucking guy looks like he's 30 fucking 2.
So I'm the oldest of 4. You're as old as my youngest brother. Okay. I'm the oldest. He's the youngest.
So I'm just saying from the beginning state. So it's still like I'm barely grasping on. But you're right because that's a 9-year difference. So there's shit that you would, if I would say 2003 when I graduated high school, you weren't 30 yet, but you were pushing it.
I was married for 2 years already.
See, there you go. But it's just fucking weird, man. Because, like I said, it's not weird, but Dave's entering it now, where because he's just now said, yeah, dude, it's true. We're only a few years apart. You're entering the weird.
Baby. Don't worry,
Dave. You're entering the weird age now, where you kind of may have felt it for the last couple of years, but you're 33, right? Is that right?
I'll be 34 next month.
Okay, yep. 34. Well,
sorry.
Okay, you're 34.
You mean a month ago.
I was a month ago. I'm 34 now.
I'm 37. You're 34. So you're 30. Okay. All right. Yeah. You're just hitting that spot where it's like, you definitely like, if you would go to a college bar, you would be like, man, I feel old as fuck in this place. And then if you would go to Like a VFW bar with older people, they would still call you a kid. So it's a weird fucking age because like you don't look 46. So people would probably still call you a kid. But at 46, it's like once you hit in your 40s, I feel like you kind of get less and less gripped away from that the further you go.
They just don't know how to handle you at this point.
Yeah, it's just a weird age. It's just a weird one. It's odd. It's
so completely off topic. Well, kind of. Anyways, so like Luke, we were talking about on the phone like last week. You remember of the conversation we had about how we were talking about your grandmother and about how like talking about like the 40s, the 50s, like this is going to be unacceptable soon to say the 40s because we're about to enter 2040 like soon. Like we're all going to be alive probably for 2040s.
Yeah, right. You talk about the 20s and the 30s, and it's like, which ones?
Which one?
These?
I know, dude.
Right?
Because we're
like
born,
saying the 1900s.
Say late 1900s now is what they're.
You have to say late 1900s.
I just went to a car show. I've also got a 1927 Ford, and I went to a car show, and the guy says to me, "Well, what year's your car?" And I said, "It's a 27." He's like, 27? Like, yeah. He's like,
future.
Oh, okay.
Futuristic.
Yeah,
damn, that car ain't come out for 6 years yet.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Crazy.
What did Cat Williams say? The peripheral that comes out.
Oh fuck.
Dude, that's wild. But
it's kind of my dad was a hot rodder, so it was always cars. My dad had a bunch of Jeeps. That's kind of why my Jeep is named what it is, because that's what my dad named his Jeeps. It's just kind of.
What's the name?
Well, they call my Jeep the Blackjack.
Okay.
But my dad had Blackjack Jeeps for years and years and years. It's just.
It's cool.
Kind of a little tribute. And my 27 is kind of a tribute to my dad. He was building it when he passed, and one of my dad's friends actually finished it for us. And it was kind of one of those. It's kind of got a little bit of all the colors of all the cars that my dad had built through the years, kind of underneath the paint, and it's kind of done as a tribute to him, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Fun.
That's awesome.
It's like driving a go-kart.
That's sick. So, as time's moving on here, let's ask you to give us some of your favorite helper stories, because I know you have a couple or a few.
Bring the sheets out here. So,
question: have you ever left anybody on the side of the road?
No, but I did drop him off at his house.
Oh, okay.
Because he lived on my route.
Okay.
So this is the week of Thanksgiving last year. The midst of COVID, right?
Yep.
So I get this guy. I had a helper lined up, but my helper couldn't work that day because it was like the Monday or Tuesday of Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the building, and of course our supervisor says to me, "Hey, listen, I got a helper for you." And I said, "Well," hands me a sheet. I said, that's not my helper. He says, "Well, your helper's not available. I got this guy for you today. It's his first day." First day, huh? Yeah. No thanks. He's like, "Well, he lives on your route." I'm like,
"No thanks."
No thanks. So he says, "Listen, all right." And while he's talking to me, his phone rings, and it's the helper is at the building.
The new one.
Yeah, this helper that he's trying to get me to take is at the building.
Oh, Jesus.
So I said, all right, if the guy's here already, I'll keep him for a couple hours. I'll drop him off at home. Okay. The guy comes down. I show him. I said, this is my truck. I got to go to this meeting. I'll be right back. Blah, 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 blah. We do the whole PCM. We leave the building. It's about a 12-minute ride to my first stop. 6 minutes in, this kid asked me, "Is this truck hard to drive?" So, no, not really. Like once you get used to it, backing it up, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Says, so I got a question for you. Does the company hire felons?
Yes. I heard that.
Felons, huh? I said, well, I know what the answer is, but I was kind of like, I guess it would depend on the circumstance.
Yeah, sure.
So we get to the first stop. I drop all the stuff at the first stop, couple of air. We're on our way to the next stop. I get to
I heard
about
the COVID cough.
11 o'clock.
Go ahead. I remember.
I get to about 11 o'clock, and the kid says, I'm delivering to a clinic. And I said, well, there's been a line outside this place for like the past month. And I come down the hill and there's nobody online. And I said, oh, they must be out of COVID tests. So I said, you stay here. I got to go get a signature, blah, blah. I go in, I come back out. And he says, so the kid says to me, have you ever had a COVID test? I said, no, why? Said, oh, man, it sucks. So why? He says, they stick a Q-tip up your nose, blah, blah, blah. So
tickle your brain.
So I said, no, I haven't had it. He goes, I had one. I said, yeah? He said, yeah, I tested positive for antibodies right before they released me from jail. This kid lives on my route. I'm delivering computers and TVs and all this stuff.
Expensive shit.
A mile and a half from this kid's house. I got him delivering it. And he's on his phone. And I'm like, I go to another house. I send him up the driveway. I text the guy that gave me my helper. I said, dude, come get this guy. He says, what do you mean? I said, I don't want him on my truck. Well, what do you mean? I text him. I said, your boy just told me that he tested positive for COVID antibodies right before he got out of jail. He's like, no, he didn't. no, he did.
Just be like,
sounds about right.
I'm sitting in this driveway. The guy gets back in the truck, right? He gets back in the truck. And I said, so you live in those apartments down on the end of this road, right? He's like, yeah. So, all right. And I just pull out of the driveway. And I'm driving towards his house. And he's chatting away. Oh, so what time do you think we're going to work till today? Like, I don't know. It won't be too bad. And
3 minutes later,
I pull in this driveway and I pull in. I said, listen,
you're done.
I said, if it wasn't the week of Thanksgiving, I got family coming in from out of town. I got some old elderly people. I'm not supposed to have a helper, blah, blah, blah. I'm dishing them out. What do you mean? I said, I'm dropping you off. So I drop him off. I fill out his time card. I have him sign it. And I pull out of the driveway. Well, this dude gets right on the phone and calls that supervisor. And that supervisor blows me into this guy and says, oh, well, what'd you tell the driver you had COVID for? Why'd you tell him? The more concern is, why do we hire this guy that's fresh out of jail? But once again,
because you can get hired under 30 minutes or less now.
So long story short, I come home, I tell my wife.
No interview needed.
I tell my wife the story, and she asked me what the kid's name is. She if she used her power for good, it'd be amazing. But she looked this guy up real quick on social media. She's like, he's been arrested for this, arrested for that, arrested for assault and battery, arrested for that. I'm like, and I got this kid on my truck. Like, what is going on? Who's interviewing these guys? But I guess when they need warm bodies, they just hire them all.
That's it. So did I ever tell you about the helper that I had 2 years ago? Not this past year, because I didn't have a helper during COVID. This was 2019. The helper I had, do you remember the guy? This happened this past late winter in 2020 or 2021, I think it was. The guy that killed the young girl over here in Kingston.
Oh no!
Did you hear about this? And then he killed. I think she was 14 years old.
Jesus Christ!
And he shot her.
I don't need to hear this.
Yeah, but this guy was my helper.
Shit.
The guy that shot her was my helper the previous fucking year, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Talking about felons and shit. Yeah. The kid seemed nice as pie to me.
Oh, sure.
And he was a good worker.
Say that AJ was nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze, you know. So my other helper story is, I won't use this guy's real name.
That's fine.
I called him Thuggy. And
Thuggy?
This dude, I know everybody's seen that movie, The Hangover, with Alan from The Hangover. This dude was straight up Zach Galifianakis 100%. Father's a doctor. This cat lives in his parents' basement. He's 36 years old. Is a photographer. What's that? All right, my wife says he's older than that.
Dude, that's like I forget. It had to be the third Hangover. It's right before he died. Right before his dad dies, he's like, "We're nothing, Alan. You're my 40-year-old son." He's like, "I'm 42. I'm 42."
Yes. That's how this guy was, bro. The whole time he's my helper, he's wearing these brown corduroy pants. That's the only brown pants I got. He's working with me 5 days a week, rocking these brown corduroy pants. I gave him my raincoat because he wanted a uniform. You know, great guy. He'd been a helper for a driver a couple of years before. Whatever. Great helper. Great helper. I take him. This is like the last week of Christmas. It's like probably like the last day I'm going to have him. I dumped all my air. Somebody came and grabbed all of my outbounds and stuff. I'm working till like 9:30. We go to this diner. I said, "Let me buy you dinner for helping me out." Now this guy, it's me, him. The waitress's kid is in the corner doing his homework. The waitress and like another couple. And this guy says, "What are you going to have?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm thinking about having like the chicken cutlet, blah, blah, blah." Okay. The waitress comes over, says, "What can I get for you?" He's like, "I'm going to have the chicken parm." Like he's yelling. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, "I just want to make sure she heard my order." Like, you heard your order. There's no ambient noise, man. It's just
the people
you.
10 houses down heard your fucking order.
But all crazy hair and shit the whole time he's my helper. I see him like a week later. He shaved his head, shaved his beard, just like Alan did in The Hangover. And I'm like, what is going on with this cat? So 3 years ago, he sends me a text. "I'm going to be your helper again this year." I'm like, whatever. Ghost me, nothing. I don't hear nothing back from him. I end up with another helper. Last year or 2 years ago, I get my wife's cousin's going to be my helper. Shows up. This guy texts me, "Hey, I'm going to be your helper again this year." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not happening." He shows up one day at the building, and I'm like, "Sorry, dude, I got another helper." He worked with somebody else one day, and he quit. So I end up with this helper that I had for that year, and then I had her in the second year. I don't know what I'm going to do for a helper this year because she's actually a driver in our building now. So I was kind of hoping that, I hear all these guys talking about having their kids be their helpers so they can see what dad does. And this year I could have done it, but my daughter's college schedule is kind of a little bit banged up, and I don't think it's going to work out, but maybe next year. But and she's I would have loved to have had her see what it's actually like to just drive around in a truck for a day,
Oh yeah.
Because they just think
that's what
around.
I've always that's what Doug always told me when I was his helper for years. He'd be like, "Hey, these fucking people, they just think we just drive around waving at everybody. That's it." And like, dude, he had a pretty good idea to tell people what to do. He was like, if you want to try to simulate it, just take your car and drive it fit. Like his route was kind of an in-town route anyway. It's like drive it like 15 yards, stop it, turn it off, walk around your car 3 times, get back in, drive up, stop it. Like that's what.
Listen, you do anything 140 times a day.
Right.
I don't care if it's just put the seatbelt on and off.
Yeah.
Let alone get out of the seat,
True. Fuck.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Ugh, that's awesome.
So I know you guys were talking the other day about women in bikinis and people coming out of the shower. I never get that.
What?
I get the fat guy in the poorly tied
I do
bathrobe.
too.
What were we talking about?
I don't
I don't remember talking about this. What was that?
Somebody was talking about the lady tidy guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
I had a
No, that was
well,
me.
it might have been both of us, unfortunately. Yeah.
You had one? I was talking about the one where the old lady
No.
came out in a towel, and then all of a sudden this like young buck came out in his whitey tighties, and I'm wondering what the fuck's going on in this household.
Yeah, I never get that. I get the fat guy in the bathroom.
I mean,
Every
don't worry,
time.
I got the nudist out there too, who's out there
that's
laying in
funny.
his fucking lawn chair with his fucking Kindle.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it over there. I'm like, don't get up.
That first year I qualified, I ended up with a misload off of another driver. He gave me directions to it because they couldn't find it. And then he calls me afterwards and says, "How'd you make out there?" I said, "I did all right. Why? What's up?" He goes, "I didn't want to tell you this before, but they shoot gay porn down there." Oh yeah, they shoot gay porn down on the bottom of that guy's driveway.
Oh my God.
Not that there's
Like,
nothing
Well,
wrong
maybe,
with that, but
maybe
I didn't see
you
any
were
glad-
probably
I'm glad you told me
delivering some
after.
shit for it. I'm just telling you. I mean, you know, it probably was.
dropping
Yeah,
off shit,
you're-
picking up shit. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Right?
Big old ding dongs.
Fuck.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
Yes, it
Well, this
is.
has been fucking awesome, dude. Do you have anything else?
I
for
don't
John?
really. I mean, I kind of know we did it on the fly, but I knew Dave had plenty, and I just was going to be along for. I'm glad to have you on, brother. I'm glad this fucking worked out. Yeah, man.
That was good,
Absolutely.
man. I like it. It was fun.
That's awesome. Do you have any questions for us? I mean, I see you every day, so do you have any questions for Luke?
Well, it's funny. Every time I hear Luke talk about it going on his honeymoon and stuff, he's down there talking about St. Augustine.
Fucking love St. Augustine, man.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I want to
city,
be
bro.
back there in
Beautiful city.
2022. So that's I gotta get back down there. Fuck, it's 2022 will be. I mean, that would be 6 years since I've been down there last.
Yeah. I try. I get
Yeah,
down there probably
dude,
twice a year. That's my bomb up and down the East Coast. You know.
I fucking love it. I could probably drive it because I've driven to Jacksonville. I've driven to Jacksonville like 4 times for West Virginia. Yeah,
St. Augustine can't be about another hour and 20 minutes or something. And that's so much nicer.
Oh no,
than
I was in
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville for a bowl game for West Virginia. It was the Gator Bowl. Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was. Yeah. If I'm choosing St. Augustine, I'm driving that extra hour. No offense to anybody in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, I fucking love your city too because I've had a lot of fun there. But yeah, I mean, I was there for football.
I've been to the airport and driven.
I was there for football.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, John, don't go anywhere so we can say goodbye off air. All right. Guys, thank you for joining us for this episode 1 of the Christmas installment.
Happy
For the month of
holidays,
December.
everybody. And
Fucking right. Happy
hopefully
holidays.
the hours aren't killing you.
That's right.
And hopefully we're
safe.
not doing 7 days a week.
24
It's
hours
just
just
6.
cranking it out.
So, guys, again, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this interview, and whatever you're doing, continue delivering greatness. And don't forget your most important stop, guys. All right. Be safe out there, guys. We'll catch you guys next week.
Have a good one, everybody.
Go on.
Peace.